Let's learn how to master Spanish IR verbs. In the first part of this video, I'm going to teach you how to conjugate and use IR verbs. Then you'll watch a fun story that demonstrates all the concepts that you just learned. And finally, you'll watch the story again with English subtitles to check your comprehension. Let's get started. You can classify all Spanish infinitive verbs in 3 different categories. The verbs that end in AR, ER, or IR. Today we're focusing on that last category, IR verbs. When we say IR verbs, we simply mean verbs that end in IR. For example, the verb escribir, to write, the verb discutir, to discuss, or the verb compartir, to share. So, how do we conjugate IR verbs? It's simple. The great thing about Spanish regular verbs is that you only have to learn how to conjugate one, and then you can conjugate any IR regular verb in the same way. So, as long as you know what the verb means and the main conjugation, you can conjugate any regular IR verb. Let's take the verb escribir, to write, for example. First, you take the verb in its infinitive form and drop the IR, so you're left with the stem. Then you add specific endings to this stem depending on the pronoun. For the first person singular, yo, you add O to the stem. So, yo plus escribir is yo escribo. For the second person singular, tú, you add es to the stem. Tú escribes. For the second person formal, usted, you add I. Usted escribe. For the third person singular, él, ella, you add I. Él escribe, ella escribe. For the first person plural, nosotros, you add imos. Nosotros escribimos. For the second person plural, vosotros, you add is. Vosotros escribís. For the second person plural formal, ustedes, you add en. Ustedes escriben. For the third person plural, ellos, ellas, you add en. Ellos escriben, ellas escriben. Here are some example sentences of the verb escribir. Yo escribo los apuntes. Ustedes escriben juntos. Now that we know the conjugations, let's take a look at some other IR verbs. Let's start with the verb discutir, or to discuss. Remember, you take off the IR and add the appropriate endings to the stem. So it would be yo discuto, tú discutes, usted discute, él, ella discute, nosotros discutimos, vosotros discutís, ustedes discuten, ellos, ellas discuten. Here are some example sentences of the verb discutir. Yo discuto con la profesora. Tú discutes libros. Ella discute el tema. Nosotros discutimos el libro. Vosotros discutís política. Ellos discuten juntos. Now let's take a look at the verb subir, or to go up. The same rules apply, so you take off the IR and add the appropriate endings to the stem. So it would be yo subo. Tú subes. Usted sube, él, ella sube, nosotros subimos, vosotros subís, ustedes suben, ellos, ellas suben. Here are some example sentences of the verb subir. Yo subo un momento. Tú subes de piso. Ella sube sola. Nosotros subimos juntos. Vosotros subís a mi casa. Ellos suben después. Let's see another verb, this time compartir, meaning to share. As per usual, you take off the IR and add appropriate endings to the stem. So the verb compartir would be yo comparto, tú compartes, usted comparte, él, ella comparte, nosotros compartimos, vosotros compartís, ustedes comparten, ellos, ellas comparten. Here are some example sentences of the verb compartir. Yo comparto siempre. Tú compartes conmigo. Ella comparte los apuntes. Nosotros compartimos los regalos. Vosotros compartís todo. Ellos comparten la cama. Now that you know how to conjugate any regular IR verb, I think it's time to put what you've learned to the test. I'll give you a few seconds to answer. Yo subir. Yo subo. Tú escribir. Tú escribes. Él compartir. Él comparte. Nosotros discutir. Nosotros discutimos. Ellos decidir. Ellos deciden. Way to go! If you didn't get them all, don't worry. We're going to look at all the most important IR verbs in Spanish, and you'll be able to conjugate them all by the end of this video. So, now that we know the basics, let's look at the most important IR verb, the verb to go, or simply ir in Spanish. The verb ir, or to go, is one of the most useful and common Spanish verbs. However, it is also irregular, which means the stem changes and it has different endings. Let's look at how to conjugate it. Yo voy. For example, yo voy solo. Tú vas. For example, tú vas a la biblioteca. Él, ella, usted va. For example, él va luego. Nosotros vamos. For example, nosotros vamos de compras. Vosotros vais. For example, vosotros vais a casa. Ellos, ellas, ustedes van. For example, ellos van al supermercado. Let's take a look at some other very useful and irregular IR verbs. First, we have the verb sentir, or to feel, which is irregular and therefore has a stem change. Remember, the only pronouns unaffected by the stem change are nosotros and vosotros. So, the verb goes like this. Yo siento, tú sientes, usted siente, él, ella siente, nosotros sentimos, vosotros sentís, ustedes sienten, ellos, ellas sienten. Then we have pedir, meaning to ask for, which, being irregular as well, also has a stem change from ped to pid. Yo pido, tú pides, usted pide, él, ella pide, nosotros pedimos, vosotros pedís, ustedes piden, ellos, ellas piden. Then we have the verb reír, or to laugh, which is also irregular. Yo río, tú ríes, usted ríe, él, ella ríe, nosotros reímos, vosotros reís, ustedes ríen, ellos, ellas ríen. Another very important verb is the verb oír, or to hear, which is also irregular, meaning its stem changes. Let's take a closer look at the conjugations. Yo oigo, tú oyes, usted oye, él, ella oye, nosotros oímos, vosotros oís, ustedes oyen, ellos, ellas oyen. So, now that we've seen the most common and useful IR verbs in Spanish and how they're conjugated, let's put what you've learned to the test. Just like before, I'll give you a couple of seconds to give me the answer. Vamos. Yo oír. Yo oigo. Ella compartir. Ella comparte. Nosotros escribir. Nosotros escribimos. Vosotros subir. Vosotros subís. Ellas ir. Ellas van. Now let's watch this fun story to see present tense IR verbs in action. Make sure you watch until the end to find out what happens.
Hola Juan, ¿vas a la biblioteca solo?
Buenas, Ana. Sí, hoy voy solo. Mi hermano va mañana. ¿Y tú?
Voy sola. Mis amigas no van a la biblioteca.
¿Vamos juntos?
Muy bien. ¿También estudias español?
Sí. ¿Y tú?
Yo también. ¿Discutimos el libro y yo escribo los apuntes?
Perfecto. Después comparte los apuntes.
¡Claro! nos oyen. Es una biblioteca.
Tú te ríes más que yo.
Tu voz. Subo un momento. Necesito un libro.
Voy también.
¿Pido el libro?
No, allá vamos.
If you like this video, you'll love the upcoming beginner-friendly FluentU course. It's going to have more engaging stories with helpful teacher explanations. It will be organized in a way that's more effective for learning and is perfect for beginners. It will contain exclusive content that you won't be able to find anywhere else and also integrate clips from movie scenes, TV shows, and more. You'll also get personalized quizzes and speaking questions to make it all stick. To try FluentU right now for free, click the link in the description below and start your free 2-week trial. FluentU is also currently having a sale, so now is the perfect time to check it out. In addition to this new course, the FluentU app also has thousands of authentic videos, including movie scenes, clips from TV shows, TED Talks, and music videos, all of which have interactive subtitles. Each word has a context-specific definition, with examples written by language experts, so you never waste any time with definitions that are too general or inaccurate, as well as video examples of native speakers using the vocab.
¿Pido el libro?
No, allá vamos. No te rías, todos nos oyen.
Me río, pero me siento mal. Lo siento.
¿Subimos a discutir el libro a mi casa?
Allá vamos.
¿Y tú te ríes de mi voz?
Now watch the video again with English subtitles and see how much you understood.
Hola, Juan. ¿Vas a la biblioteca solo?
Buenas, Ana. Sí, hoy voy solo. Mi hermano va mañana. ¿Y tú?
Voy sola. Mis amigas no van a la biblioteca.
¿Vamos juntos?
Muy bien. ¿También estudias español?
Sí, ¿y tú?
Yo también. ¿Discutimos el libro y yo escribo los apuntes?
Perfecto. Después comparte los apuntes.
¡Claro! ¡Shh! Nos oyen. Es una biblioteca.
Tú te ríes más que yo.
Tu voz. Subo un momento. Necesito un libro.
Voy también.
¿Pido el libro?
No, allá vamos. No te rías, todos nos oyen.
Me río, pero me siento mal. Lo siento.
¿Subimos a discutir el libro a mi casa?
Allá vamos.
¿Y tú te ríes de mi voz?
In this next video, you'll learn all about Spanish AR verbs with another fun story. Check it out!